Good morning, everyone. I'm E. E Shu. That's all right. It's an odd name, perhaps. Right. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you for providing the opportunities for us to present the new specification for highway works. I will start by I'll start by giving an overview of the document structures and how it links with the current series 800s, 900, 1000s, and then how it links with the DMRB contents, and giving an example of how the new clause look like. And then I'll hand over to Joe, who's going to talk through some examples and the key changes. So, most of us remember back in 2019, the DMRB has gone through a major revision, streamlining the structure and providing better clarity. And on the other hand, the SHW has been in the same format pretty much in the last 3 decades, unchanged. So after listening to the feedback from the industry and having a careful evaluation of the current contract and project needs, we're undertaking a full modernized transformation of the SHW and trying to provide a better clarity and unambiguous clauses and with user-friendly and digitalized enabled documents that meet modern contracts and project needs. And the big bump application is going to be in 2025, next year, with the full suite of the SHW documents, including the payment documents, and the associated DMRB updates as well. This is a payment SHW document structure. How it looks like on the top is a new document numbering and the contents. At the bottom are the more familiarized contents of the current series, 700, 800s. So we recognize for construction requirements, it varies according to new construction or maintenance construction. New construction, you may have months through the projects, moving from phase 1 to phase 2 and all the way onwards. And for maintenance projects, you may have only just short overnight closure. So there's different requirements on the materials and technologies. Therefore, we divided documents into 2 main categories: new construction and maintenance. Let's take the current Series 1000 concrete, for example. So where you have pavement quality concrete, continuous reinforced concrete pavements, jointed concrete pavements, reinforced and unreinforced, you'd likely find contents in the new document CC 203, which is the new construction, rigid pavement construction, and where you have, say, shallow repairs, seam boundary repairs, full depth repairs, joint resealing. Those contents are in CC 206, so the maintenance of concrete pavement layers. And where you have longitudinal diamond grinding or fine milling as surface treatments, they're now under CC 204, surface treatment documents. So the same logic applies for the asphalt payments as well. So the new asphalt payments in CC 202, flexible payment construction, and maintenance of flexible payments, asphalt surfaced payments are in CC 205. So that's how where the series 900 contents going to go. In terms of the payment foundation structure, it's all in one document now, so it's in CC 201, which includes the current 800 series and the capping content from the current 600 series. The CC 207 focuses on the footway, cycle tracks, curb units, and access steps. For those who are trying to take photos, this slide, I believe, is going to be made available to everyone, so it's okay. So on this slide, at the bottom, you see how it links with the DMRB documents. Following the same principle, the DMRB documents are also being updated to create the link with the new SHW. So the two sets of documents are consistent in terms of terminology, and they actually having the connections, and they can talk to each other in a way. There are DMRB documents are not listed on the slides. They are the overarching things like CD224 traffic assessments, CS229 data for payment assessments. They're also being updated and will be published at the same time in 2025. For footway cycle tracks, the current design standard CD239, it's more focused on the new footway cycle tracks construction. So we've created a new document, CD241, which is designed for maintenance of these footway cycle tracks. Okay. This is how the new, well, it's an example of how the new clause looks like. So firstly, the old clause numbers are gone. So the ones I'm familiar with, 801, 1030, they're gone. Instead, we have the section headings, subheadings, clauses, so arranged in a way so it's easier for people to navigate through the documents, finding the relevant contents. All the SHW documents are actually consistent in terms of the formatting and the drafting rules. For example, if you have material specification, you're likely to find the headings for constituents requirements, product requirements, installation requirements, verifications, documentation, so along the similar logic and similar lines. So that's the logic throughout the whole suite of SHW documents. Another thing that's obvious to see is the clauses are much shorter compared to the current series, say 1000. And so it's a lot easier to read and hopefully easier on the eyes as well for people. Right, for now, I will pass on to Joe.
So I just wanted to go through a few of the kind of key technical changes with the new SHW, and then I'll touch on the contract-specific requirements, which are quite a change. I know who my audience is today, so I'm going to talk about cementitious materials. If you want to know about asphalt, come find me at lunch or something like that. So when we were looking at what technical changes to do, we wanted to make sure they kind of aligned with our key drivers. So these are really, from a National Highways perspective, safety, customer experience, and enabling decarbonisation. And I think the three of these things really is underpinned by technology and how we leverage that. So to achieve this, in reality, the specification needs to be open to innovation, so open to new materials, new construction methods, new testing. So I've just kind of put up a few key changes on this slide for new construction. So a few of the kind of big things, we've got end product compaction requirements for bound capping now, so that accompanies the existing HBM and PQC end product requirements. We've introduced written completely new performance specifications for PQC, so that's installation and curing and trafficking. We've introduced low carbon binders for all of the different cementitious materials, and the narrow widening options which have been used quite a lot on the SMP and stuff like that, they're now formalised in the new SHW. So all of these changes we're hoping are going to reduce construction time, give lower carbon construction. Good thing for National Highways, they should hopefully have fewer departures from standard. And I think the big driver of a lot of these things is better safety, reduce people on site, reduce total hours of people on site, and that can only be a good thing. So that's new construction. I'll just talk about concrete pavement maintenance for a second. So we've written, as E alluded to, we've written a completely new document, CC206, from the ground up. It incorporates, we've learned a lot during the Concrete Roads programme, and it incorporates all of those learnings and also the good practice that's in the Concrete Pavement Maintenance Manual. and as he alluded to, we've got accompanying DMRB content for all of those, so the designers know what to do when they're making their design decisions, and I'll touch on that a little bit. We're still trying to keep the door open to low carbon materials, so we've got third party accreditation. If you follow that, you can effectively use proprietary concretes, proprietary cements if you follow that process. And we've introduced a 2-year guarantee for polymeric materials based on feedback we've had from sites. So this is against kind of rutting and deformation. And well, Joe's not here, but I was thinking before Joe Quirk and I have discussed it a lot. And before he's not here to say anything, but if you use it in the wrong location, the 2-year guarantee doesn't apply. So don't expect it to be applicable over wide cracks and stuff like that. So a big change that I want to talk about is the new work-specific requirements. I think it's not an understatement to say the new the existing work-specific requirements in the SHW, the appendices, as you probably know, have been a bane of my life for the last however long I've been working. Whether I've been writing them or reviewing them, they take ages to complete. They're always really inconsistent. And from a user's perspective, so contractor, supplier, you never know what you're going to get. They're always different, and a lot of the time they're full of errors, full of contradictions, and ultimately that costs time and money for the client and the contractor as well. So the new work-specific requirements hopefully going to change this. So pretty much every work-specific requirement you'll receive now is in a standard table. So everything is completely standardised. And basically, there's no more free text option. So you don't have the designer writing whatever they like in a box. It's not a Word document anymore. So this should mean that they're easy to complete because you know what to put where, and easy to understand from a user's perspective. National Highways have also been working on a bespoke specifier tool. This is cloud-based. It's basically you populate your schedules in it. It tells you what you've missed, and it provides an audit trail so you know who's done what work. Other good things, it's machine readable, so you could potentially ingest a CAD model and it will generate a specification for you. So there's going to be a lot less work hopefully required from a designer's perspective, which is good for me. Maybe not so good for me. And you'll note my little asterisk at the bottom. There is a spreadsheet format. I know that lots of local authorities use the SHW, so there'll be a spreadsheet format available for this specifier tool. And this isn't pavement specific. I couldn't get a pavement specific example, but this is just kind of what the specifier tool looks like. So you've got your cancelled requirements, substitute requirements, additional requirements at the top, and then you've got your standard schedules. So that's what it's going to look like, kind of for payments. I have got an example. So the good thing about this is every single time somebody adds a cancel requirement, substitute requirement, additional requirement, that comes right to the top and triggers a departure from standard. So you know who's doing what. So you should get a consistent product at the end. And I'll just show a pavement-specific example. So this is shallow repairs for concrete. I picked an easy one. So on the left-hand side, you've got drawing and repair ID. Then as you go forward to the right, it's the more work-specific stuff. So material type and then the dimensions for the repair. Probably a few things to note. The material type is a drop-down box. So it's a standard list, and you can't pick anything that's not in the list. And if you want to pick something that's not in the list, then it's an additional requirement, substitute requirement, departure from standard. So it should mean that you're getting a completely consistent product all the time. And we've talked a bit about the DMRB and how that links together. So I'll just show you a slide of that now as well. So this is the mirror content for shallow repairs, which will be used to write the new specification. So this didn't exist until it was written this year. So at the top, you've got your work-specific content, so that's kind of what the designer needs to detail. And then below that, you've got your requirements and advice for how you design a shallow repair. So you've got applicability on where it's going to be used, what materials to select from, and how to do the specific detailing. So we've got stuff like maintaining joint space, not putting it over cracks and stuff like that. So that's kind of a whistle-stop tour in the time that we've got for the new specification. And I'll just hand back to E, who will talk to you about kind of publication and where we're going with the new SHW once it is published.
Right, so publication and next steps. An existing contract that's already been ongoing or programmed to start before the go-live date in 2025, unless it's specifically requested or stated in the contract itself, it still follows the current standards. And the new SHW will be applicable to new contracts starting after the publication date next year. So before that, all the supporting documents or supporting materials will be available, provided by National Highways. The documents, if you're interested to have a look at the new SHW, how it looks like, what other courses look like, and like Joe said, the work-specific requirements, they are available via BritPave or Mineral Products Association. So feel free to go and have a look. As we said, so standard update is always an ongoing exercise that does not stop after 2025. We'll continue to look to update the documents, particularly with regards to innovations and to support the net zero target that we have. Hopefully with the new digitalized machine-readable documents, it should speed up the update process, make it much quicker. That's all about the presentation. Lastly, I'd like to thank AECOM for ongoing support on the work, and I'd like to thank BritPave for their information and comments provided on technical topics. And finally, thank you all for listening.
Stay exactly where you are. Any questions, please? Please use this time to ask whatever you, if it is necessary. Use them while they're here. Alex.
Yes, thanks so much for that. Thank you, Hank. That's Alex from Northern. Firstly, just to say, thanks for updating the appendices and making them much more usable. It's probably taken about 20 years, I reckon. So thank you, that's excellent. But my question is about the notes of guidance. I didn't quite pick up on that last one listed, so expect for how it works is a bit like listening to your lawyer. Notes of guidance is a bit like having someone sort of practical explain what it all means, which is really useful for the younger engineers as well. Have you still got a similar type of system running?
Yes, go for
it. In summary, the notes for guidance have been split into two. So any notes for guidance that supports a design has moved into the DMRB. Any notes for guidance that doesn't support a design has been archived. So they've not been deleted. It's not going to be removed from all existence. They've just been archived and moved aside. Now I'll talk on behalf of National Highways. It's a big beast to maintain. So when they wrote the DMRB, they decided we're going to assume that the DMRB is used by someone who's competent and trained in their own field, and it's not a design manual. So that's the decision that they made with that, and we basically have gone along the same guides with the SHW. So the explanatory notes, unfortunately, don't exist, and that's simply because they're a massive beast to try and maintain. So they've taken the decision that any notes of guidance that supports the design, which is what we've got, and we've kind of decided what's appropriate to include from a competency perspective, has gone into the DMRB. Any kind of explanatory notes are being archived and not included kind of anywhere, but obviously they'll still be accessible in the future. If that answers your question.
It certainly answers the question, thank you, but it would be a shame to lose that body of information, because I know when I was a younger engineer, that's a few years ago now, those notes of guidance were really, really useful just to reflect on why the clause was saying what it said. and whether that's in DMRB or Spec for Highway Works. Yeah, I would. It's only me saying it today, but I would try not to lose them.
Yeah, I think the National Highways have got kind of a policy against developing guidance documents. So I think it's really for the industry to take that on, and that's kind of what we've seen with BritPave. BritPave took on HA74 and wrote their own document, and that's kind of a really good thing because that's used, and that's kind of what they want for a lot of the documents really. That's kind of owned and maintained by the industry in terms of guidance. Unfortunately.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, make sure you bombard Joe and E at lunchtime so they don't get a chance to talk about asphalt. Many thanks for that. I just got one question myself, actually. How easy, when we talk about the next generation here, and you did say that you want to help and progress innovation. Looking at the programme we've got here in terms of new processes and new cements, etc., how easy will it be for this standard to work with such a rapidly changing industry?
Yes, so the standards would certainly support innovations, but there's also the technology readiness level, another measure that we need to consider. So there's a document in terms of what level and what support National Highways can provide. It usually go from concept, so you go through laboratory testing and maybe off-site testing trials, and then on-site trials based on from departure from standard. With that evidence in place, then we'll get the confidence and solid evidence in terms of how they perform in real case under the traffic conditions, and that's when it's ready to be put into the standards. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. On behalf of the delegates here, thank you for a very informed presentation.